Well, good evening on this very first Friday of December 2025. You're just in time for the day's news. Now, is the Safaricom stake sale to Vodacom a smart business move or a costly shortcut for short-term relief? Stay tuned for today's conundrum as we take a look at Safaricom's stake sale by governments and the debate around it. I'm Tess Jenga, and our sign language interpreter is Boniface Murithi. First, the day's news. Politics took center stage today in different parts of the country, with leaders affiliated to both the United Opposition and the Kenya Kwanza already campaigning for their coalitions. In Nandi County, Head of Public Service Felix Kosgei led a number of leaders to drum up support for President Ruto, while in Kakamega, DCP Deputy Party Leader Cleophas Malala, accompanied by a section of Democracy for the Citizens Party leaders, criticized the government, urging Kenyans to support the DCP party in the upcoming general election to send President Ruto home.
The United Opposition and the Kenya Kwanza coalitions drummed up support for their respective coalitions in different counties today, where leaders from both coalitions urged Kenyans to support them in the upcoming general election. Speaking in Nandi County during the homecoming and Thanksgiving ceremony of Mosop Member of Parliament Abraham Kirwa, who was undergoing treatment in America, Kenya Kwanza Alliance-affiliated leaders Kimani Ngujiri and Tinderet MP Julius Meli drummed up support for President William Ruto, urging residents to re-elect him for a second term when the time comes, while criticizing the opposition for empty rhetoric.
Tulikuwa na minister 8 tumepewa na serikali ya Ruto. Tumekuwa na PS 17. Tulikuwa na treasury ni watu ya milima. Central Bank ni watu ya milima. Inspector General ni mtu wa milima. Mkubwa ya jeshi ni wa wapi? Ni wa milima. Chief Justice ni wa wapi? Attorney General ni wa wapi? Hakuna serikali ilikuwa imepatiwa kiti watu ya Central na serikali ya Ruto kama hiyo. Sasa watu wanaanza kurukaruka kwa sababu ya mtu mmoja peke yake. Nani anajua Gachagua? Mimi najua Gachagua.
Meanwhile, in Kakamega County, during the homecoming ceremony of Kisa East Member of County Assembly Aduda Ukwiri, who was elected on a DCP party ticket, Kiambu Senator Karungo Wathangwa thanked the residents for electing a DCP candidate, saying that the party will send the current government home in 2027.
Nyinyi ndio mumetoa wheelbarrow mguu. Mahali ilikuwa imebaki. Nyinyi ndio mumetoa nini? Sasa imesimama hapo, labda wavurute. Mambo ni hayo. Labda wafanye nini? Sababu nyinyi mumeonyesha Kenya mzima. Nyinyi hamsikizi propaganda ya Kasongo. Akisema DCP ni ya kikabila, anataka kuniambia hapa Kisa East panaitwa Dumberi. Hapa Kisa East ni Murang'a. Hapa Kisa East ni Embu. Si ni Mlembe. Si ni mahali Waluya wote wametoka. Kwa hivyo hii chama ni ya makazi, ni ya Wakenya, ni ya kila mtu jameni. Na mumeonyesha watu hivi. Tukakuwa na mheshimiwa kutoka Kakamega, mheshimiwa wa DCP. Pale Narok wakachagua mheshimiwa wa DCP. Pale Nairobi ambako ni capital city, ambako State House iko hapo tu, walichagua mtu wa DCP. Alafu wanasema ati bado hawajaamini, waambie wataamini.
The DCP party bagged 3 member of county assembly seats in the recent by-elections, while UDA bagged 4 parliamentary seats. For Newswatch, my name is Jacob Ochiro.
Much appreciated, Theo Masharia, for that report. Now, health services across Embu County continue being crippled after striking doctors vowed to stay put until their grievances regarding poor working conditions are fully met. The doctors went on strike on Monday this week alongside other county workers, hampering service delivery in all sectors of the county government. They said the county had reneged on implementation of a signed collective bargaining agreement, that is a CBA, earlier this year, seeking to address their welfare issues. Alice Diana tells us more.
Patients in Embu County have continued to suffer for the 5th day today, following doctors' strike in the county that started on Monday. Among the grievances the doctors are raising are stagnation, non-remittance of statutory deductions, poor pay for locum doctors, and lack of medical supplies in hospitals. Led by Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Union KMPDU, National Deputy Secretary General Dr. Dennis Miskela, the medics said they cannot continue to render services to patients while their welfare issues continue being ignored by the employer.
As you all remember that in January last year, we had a strike. That how it ended, it was in the governor's boardroom, some of you were there, where we had a report, a bipartisan report, that came from the union and the county on certain issues that were supposed to be done with a certain time frame. And the president of the governor, the county, committed to address these issues that were making us uncomfortable. I'm here to report sadly that seems like ilikuwa ni mchezo ya town. It was all but lies. Because of everything that we agreed on, nothing was ever implemented.
The doctors are accusing the employer of ignoring the plight of doctors who have been working under difficult circumstances for years amid empty promises. According to KMPDU National Deputy Secretary General Dr. Miskela, their members have stagnated at one job group for years, something that affects their morale and output, while locum doctors who offer services to fill staffing gaps continue working on poor pay for years with no conversation into permanent terms.
The issue of promotions had really bothered doctors. Doctors, you see here, some of them, like me and my other colleagues, were last promoted in 2014, almost 11 years ago. Yeah? And this is the picture of almost all consultants, whether they are pharmacy consultants, dental consultants, or the medical practitioners consultants. Many of them, when you look at the posting order, when you look at how they are designated, they are put there as medical officers, dental officers, are just pharmacists, despite going back to specialize and come back as consultants. They expect us to still do work meant for specialists. They expect us to take the risks worthy of that name, specialists, but when you are being paid as a GP.
At the same time, the officials said hospitals continue grappling with inadequate supply of drugs, and it has become difficult for them to keep sending patients away to buy drugs out of their own pocket. The doctors have vowed not to return to work until their grievances are addressed.
So right now we have left the workplace until they give promotion letters. We are no longer going to take promises because we have realized we're dealing with a dishonest employer. So we'll only go back to work with promotion letters in our hands.
Alice Diana, Hope TV Newswatch.
Viva! Viva! Long live union, long live! Long live!
Thank you, Alice Diana. Now to matters democracy. The National Council of Churches of Kenya is raising alarm over what it calls a systematic watering down of Kenya's democracy, warning that the country risks slipping into democratic instability if urgent action is not taken. NCCK leaders criticized voter bribery in recent by-elections, the deterioration of key public services, and the rising use of criminal gangs in politics. They also condemned last week's attack on former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua by goons in a church setting and urged religious leaders to stop allowing political theatrics on the pulpit.
In every assessment that NCCK has done,
the National Council of Churches of Kenya condemned the recent incident where goons attacked former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua during a church event, a development they said disrespects sacred spaces and endangers peace. The council urged pastors and bishops to stop allowing politicians to turn pulpits into platforms for attacking rivals or showcasing open financial contributions meant to influence the congregations.
The violence that was meted by the hooligans, as well as the action by the police to throw tear gas in a holy place of worship, it is despicable and should be condemned by all Kenyans. We also have issued guidelines in the past, and we have reissued them again in this meeting, that as church leaders, we should not allow our church services to become a political platform where politicians come to issue their political manifesto or to attack their opponents.
NCCK is sounding a warning to the nation, accusing the political class of weakening democracy and betraying the spirit of the 2010 Constitution. Speaking after a consultative meeting, NCCK Chairman Dr. Elias Agola said last week's by-election exposed rampant voter bribery and manipulation, blaming members of parliament for passing laws that harm rather than protect Kenyans.
The failure by the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, that is IEBC, the police and other state organs to punish the offenders has given indications of intent to water down democracy.
The council also criticized the state of the health sector, saying Kenyans have been pushed back to the painful era of daily medical fundraisers despite being compelled to join the Social Health Authority. Whereas in education, the church leader urged government to redeem the section, citing delays in capitation funds that have left learners stranded and institutions struggling.
When we talk to the public, they are saying if SHA cannot deliver the promise of health financing, then they should be disbanded. And I think this is a call on SHA, the Minister for Health, the other agencies around health, to pull up their socks and deliver health financing. They must make sure that capitation and funding of education, from basic education to higher education in our universities, is fair and just. And we have already said that the university funding model has made so many people, so many young children, not to access education.
NCCK General Secretary Reverend Canon Chris Kinyanjui cautioned that the growing reliance on organized criminal gangs for political mobilization could plunge the country back to violence similar to the 2007 post-election crisis.
We do believe that the future that young people in Kenya desire will not come from the older generation. I think there is a disconnect between the older generation and the younger people.
Kinyanjui also added that the council will intensify mentorship programs for young people, saying Kenya's future depends on a generation that resists manipulation and demands accountable leadership. Reporting for Newswatch, my name is Glory Nkatha.
Much appreciated, Glory. Nyamira MCAs now say that they will challenge the Senate's decision to terminate impeachment proceedings against Governor Amos Nyaribo, arguing that the move denies justice to the people of Nyamira. Led by their majority leader, George Abuga, the ward representatives accused senators of abandoning their oversight mandate and have resolved to take the matter to court. Nyaribo was accused of failing to deliver the State of the County address and key annual reports and of disregarding court orders. The Assembly further faulted him for authorizing staff recruitment without a budget, influencing irregular appointments of senior human resource officers, and allegedly enriching himself through questionable salary arrears.
The senators spent much of the time debating on the PO, and finally they did not give us an opportunity to prosecute our case about the issues that have been bedeviling Nyamira. For quite a long time, we have seen issues that have led to stagnation of development in Nyamira.
What happened? That 1 hour break that my colleague leader majority in the Senate asked for. What happened after that 1 hour? That the Senate decided to vote on the preliminary objection, and 3/4 of them who were supporting us crossed over and supported the preliminary objection.
On that note, let's take a short break. On Newswatch tonight, we will be coming back to you with a story on the new dawn for Rwanda and the DRC. Stay tuned.
Get ready for an unforgettable worship experience.
washirika na wewe.
Every Sunday on Ultimate Worship.
Ainuliwe Mungu wetu. Maana wewe.
Where we bring you live music, powerful praise, and anointed gospel ministers and bands.
Nashangilia Mwokozi.
Join us every Sunday, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. with a repeat at 6 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Everywhere I go, I see you right there.
It's not just music, it's worship unleashed. It's ultimate worship.
You're too faithful to fail me.
Only on Hope TV, where you look and live.
Are you ready now?
At the age of 25 is where there is also another change, because the frontal cortex, this part of the head, the maturity now of the brain happens at that time, which is responsible for intellectual abilities, decision makings, and the executive area of the brain. Again, it comes with other challenges. Now that I am who I am, you withdraw further from people. Then the other stage that comes in, sometimes it can come early, from the age of 35 all the way to 55. Midlife crisis. Midlife crisis. So the man is trying to catch up with the lost time. Unajua anajaribu kuingia kwa vijana because they lost the time, they don't fit. Unapata jamaa anaacha koti avae, lakini wao wamevaa
jibu wao mata koti. Are you trying to communicate?
Are you trying to fit? So like so like they are trying to fit, but as they move closer to this generation, now ina move away. Inasonga, ukikuja inasonga. So then the loneliness increases, and in fact it is that critical stage where in the field of psychology we teach the men to begin to prepare themselves for that package of retirement.
Catch past episodes on our YouTube channel at Hope TV Kenya.
Men on Record, every Friday at 7 p.m.
Welcome back. The presidents of the Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda have signed a peace deal in Washington, witnessed by U.S. President Donald Trump, following an initial agreement reached between the parties in June. The signing in the U.S. Capitol, in the presence of a number of African and Arab leaders, marked a key moment in efforts to bring peace to the troubled Eastern Congo, where fierce fighting continues to rage between Congolese armed forces and the M23 rebels, among other groups. Adherence to international law by the long-standing force is among the agreements signed in the deal.
Donald J. Trump Institute in Washington, USA, played host to a raft of African leaders, including former President Uhuru Kenyatta, who had gathered to witness the signing of the Washington Accords for Peace between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo. The peace agreement, signed by Presidents Paul Kagame of Rwanda and Felix Tshisekedi of DRC, is aimed at ending a 30-year-old conflict that has plagued Eastern Congo, claiming millions of lives in the process. The Washington Accord for Peace, signed between Rwanda and DRC, saw the two nations commit to a raft of agreements, including the withdrawal of all Rwandan forces from DRC territory, commitment of both countries to international law, excluding any form of amnesty or impunity for serious crime, neutralization of the FDLR in Rwanda by DRC, and an exchange of economic benefits.
These two gentlemen are very smart, and I think they liked each other a lot. I spent time with them. I think they liked some people may be surprised. I really do. I think they've spent a lot of time killing each other. And now they're going to spend a lot of time hugging, holding hands, and taking advantage of the United States of America economically like every other country does. And I think they're going to get along really well, so I hope so. Thank you very much. Look at them. Look at the way they love each other. Thank you. So I have a lot of confidence in both leaders.
Although demanding, DRC's President Tshisekedi said that the agreement will bring to an end cycles of violence and mistrust and instead usher in economic prosperity.
Those involved, the Democratic Republic of Congo, takes this solemn commitment to implement with complete sincerity all of our obligations that stem from this agreement. We will do this with seriousness, with rigorousness, and also the constant care for peace and the security of our populations, for the unity and the integrity of our territory.
President Kagame acknowledged that it would take more than a signing ceremony for the agreement to stick.
If this agreement falters and things do not work out as they are supposed to, the responsibility will not lie with President Trump, but with ourselves.
President Ruto hailed Trump as a bold leader and described the agreement as a doorway to unlocking Africa's vast wealth, with his predecessor Uhuru Kenyatta stressing that it offers renewed hope to millions affected by conflict.
Mr. President, what you have achieved is not only transformative, it is consequential and historic.
For its success, the agreement comes with implementation deadlines and a permanent monitoring mechanism by USA and Qatar. Theo Masharia for Hope TV Newswatch.
Now back into the country, tension has gripped Songok village in Pokot North after a 31-year-old herder named Komole Siwa Teremoi was shot dead on Wednesday by suspected bandits believed to have crossed over from Namakat village in Turkana. According to local chief Joseph Kokimul, the attackers had laid an ambush along the dangerous Takwel Songok road, where they shot the victim several times before fleeing. The victim's sister, Veronica Chenangat, says the family has been devastated, noting her brother was their sole breadwinner. For decades, conflicts over scarce pasture, water, and unresolved boundaries disputes have fueled deadly clashes in the Takwel corridor. In the last 2 months alone, more than 8 people have been killed and at least 10 others injured. The body of the deceased has been moved to the Kapenguria County Referral Hospital mortuary as investigations continue. The area chief is now calling on the Ministry of Interior to deploy more national police reservists to help curb the increasing attacks in the area. Kenya and the United States have signed a landmark health cooperation framework, marking a major step towards fully realizing universal health coverage in the country. The agreement focuses on expanding Kenya's access to modern medical equipment, strengthening the delivery of essential health commodities, boosting the health workforce, and widening health insurance cover for all citizens. Under the deal, the U.S. will commit $1.6 billion to Kenya over the next 5 years. Kenya has welcomed the partnership, with officials noting that the decision by the U.S. government to make Kenya the first country to sign such a framework reflects growing international confidence in ongoing health sector reforms.
The framework we signed today adds momentum to my administration's universal health coverage that is focused on supply of modern equipment to our hospitals, efficient and timely delivery of health commodities to our facilities, enhancement of our health workforce, and health insurance for all, leaving no Kenyan behind. This facility will also boost disease surveillance and emergency preparedness. On behalf of the government and people of Kenya, I express profound gratitude to the United States, to President Donald Trump, and to you, Marco, for the commitment of US dollars 1.6 billion to Kenya over the next 5 years. This gesture of goodwill by President Trump on behalf of the American taxpayers reinforce our ongoing mobilization of domestic resources by Kenyans and actors and stakeholders in Kenya to the health sector.
We hope to sign many of these in the days to come. But the first one we're going to sign is with Kenya. And the reason why is twofold. Number one, because of our close partnership. Number two, because they have stable and strong institutions, both in government and in the healthcare sector. And over the next few years, we're going to be investing $1.6 billion in health assistance over the next 5 years. And you'll see how that program works out. But the investment is in combination. It will allow us, first of all, to leverage the private sector to create a sustainable U.S. health assistance model around the world, and not just in Kenya, but this is the perfect place to prove that it's going to work, because it is going to work.
And I assure you that every shilling and every dollar will be spent efficiently, effectively, and accountably. And let me say this for the record, that already we are mobilizing our own domestic resources to the tune of $3 billion to support the health deployment of health infrastructure in Kenya.
And what it means is that money is not just going to be spent to provide medicine and care, it's going to be spent to improve the domestic infrastructure, healthcare infrastructure, so that in 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 years, countries will say, we no longer need this much assistance, if any, because we have our own system, you've helped us to build it, it's now delivering results, and in fact, we now, these like maybe Kenya, want to go and teach other countries how to do it.
The framework we signed today adds momentum to my
The
administration's
Kenya
universal health
Kwanza
coverage.
administration has renewed its push to revive and fast-track stalled rural access roads and other key infrastructure projects across the country. A high-level government team led by Deputy Chief of Staff for Delivery Eliud Owalo toured Bomet County to inspect progress and clear bottlenecks. The team included officials from the government delivery unit, county leadership, engineers from KERA and KAA and other agencies. The visit, officials say, highlights government efforts to revive stalled projects, ensure accountability and speed up delivery for communities across the region.
Our objective today was to inspect and verify the status of various national government projects being implemented within Bomet County. You are aware, as I do, that many a time the reports you get at the headquarters may not actually be the correct position on the ground. So the purpose of undertaking these visits is to confirm whether or not the reports that we get from the line ministries as far as the implementation of national government projects is concerned is actually the correct position on the ground. And where there is a deviation, we take corrective action.
Welcome to the world of Hope Media, a media unit of Christ is the Answer Ministries that is committed to spreading the gospel of our Lord Jesus Christ through the transformative power of media. Hope Media is dedicated to utilizing various forms of media to spread the message of hope, love, and redemption to all people around the world. Hope Media consists of various units that work together to achieve this goal. These units include Hope FM. Hope FM is your #1 Christian radio station, offering you discussions on current day-to-day issues, inspiring music, life-changing sermons, and news updates, broadcasting 80% in English and 20% in Swahili, with listenership of over 12 million every month. Hope TV. Hope TV programming is designed to inspire, educate, and challenge the viewer with wholesome content to reach various demographic groups, children, youth, and adults, both male and female, with viewership of over 24 million every month. Hope Recording Studios. Hope Recording Studios is a state-of-the-art recording facility that offers high-quality recording, mixing, and mastering services. It is designed to meet the needs of musicians, artists, and other creative professionals who require top-notch recording facilities. Hope Creative. At Hope Creatives, we believe that inspiring graphic design work doesn't just happen. It takes the right people with wild, out-of-the-box ideas committed to the same ideals, working together to make it happen. We listen, we learn, we brand. Hope Digital. Hope Digital is a creative digital unit within Hope Media. We are driven by a passion to creatively express ourselves while influencing you with the same creative energy in online spaces and beyond. At Hope Media, we believe that media can be a powerful tool for spreading the message of hope as well as grow your business through advertisements, and we do this with excellence. For more information regarding our services, please visit www.hopemediakenya.org or call us on 0709 861 180. Hope Media. We keep hope alive.
Welcome back. Now in business, KCB Bank Kenya and Visa today announced a landmark collaboration to roll out tap-to-phone contactless payments acceptance solution, unlocking a new frontier of flexibility and convenience for merchants across the country. Through this collaboration, business owners will be able to accept card payments directly on their near-field communications, also known as NFC-enabled Android smartphones without the need for a traditional point-of-sale machine. The innovation significantly lowers the cost of digital payments, especially for SMEs that often face barriers due to the expenses related to the purchase of point-of-sale infrastructure.
The introduction of tap-to-phone technology comes at a time when customer expectations are changing faster than ever. Consumers are now more informed, more connected, and more demanding of convenience, speed, and safety in their transactions. This solution directly addresses these needs by transforming a merchant's Android smartphone into a secure contactless payment acceptance device.
Low-cost acceptance for Visa cards. This Hyatt Regency is taken care of, and the big ones are taken care of. But we really need to solve for nano merchants, small merchants, the Gen Zs who are very techie savvy, and this is going to do it for us.
Defense Cabinet Secretary Soipan Tuya on Friday led a historic groundbreaking ceremony for the construction of the modern Kipchoge Keino Stadium in Kapsabet, Nandi County. The Ministry of Defense through the Kenya Defense Forces will oversee its implementation to guarantee timely, efficient and high standard delivery. The new facility, designed to host up to 10,000 spectators, is scheduled to be completed by the end of 2026. It is expected to be used as a backup stadium during AFCON in 2027.
Imejengwa mahali ingine kidogo kidogo hapa, lakini hapa where it is the source of champions. Nikaambia rais na deputy president, mimi siwezi weka pesa ya county government kujenga stadium ndogo ambaye sio standard, yet you know for a fact all the medals ambayo imechukuliwa Kenya hii, kama ni ya marathon, kama ni ya 800, kama ni ya gani, mingi yao imetoka hapa Nandi.
Saa hizi hii stadium itakuwa stadium ambayo ikinyesha, ikifanya nini, michezo inaendelea. Au namna gani?
A company that was trading at 45 shillings per share in 2021, the government is unashamedly telling Kenyans that they want to sell the same company at 34 shillings today. Most of the companies listed in the NSC as we talk are selling, and most of them, including banks, are selling past the 2021 levels. But now we want to give a discount based on the 2021 valuation of a 25% discount to the current buyers. And possibly this should be investigated. Why? Even after so many companies have been recording even 200% increase, Safaricom share, even with the bullish market, has not matched many of the companies in terms of the rise in share price. Probably there was a deliberate suppression of the share. And all I want to say is that the government is underselling Safaricom, and it is to the detriment of all Kenyans.
On today's Conundrum, we take a look at the controversy over the planned sale of Safaricom shares. Kiharu Member of Parliament Ndindi Nyoro warns that the move could amount to what he calls a catastrophic economic misstep. Nyoro argues that selling government shares at 35 shillings while the market trades at around 45 shillings shortchanges taxpayers and could cost the public billions. He also criticizes the deal giving Vodacom an upfront payment of 40.1 billion in exchange for 55.7 billion shillings in future dividends, saying it is evidence of poor financial judgment driven by personal interests rather than national welfare. On the other hand, the government, through Treasury Cabinet Secretary John Mbadi, maintains the opposite. Mbadi says the sale is based on a 6-month average share price plus a premium, and that a public offering would likely have delivered even less value. The state also insists that Safaricom will remain a Kenyan brand, outlining strict conditions including the CEO and board chair must be Kenyan, local suppliers must remain in place for 3 years, independent directors must be majority Kenyan, and Vodacom must consult the government before expanding outside Kenya. Even with the sale, Treasury says Kenya will retain a strategic 20% stake, while the public continues to own another 25%. Still, Nyoro warns that the deal signals a government that is lazy in growing the economy, one that risks pushing Kenya towards deeper financial trouble while burdening ordinary citizens through a rising cost of living. He argues that taxes already collected could fund major infrastructure projects without selling national assets. As simple as this debate seems, it may define Kenya's financial trajectory for years to come as it sets a precedence. So, on one hand, the government seeks immediate cash that could help ease fiscal pressure. On the other, critics fear this may be the beginning of a wider rift of national assets under the new privatization law, raising questions about sovereignty, long-term value, and economic independence. Now, the big question remains, is the Safaricom stake sale a smart business move or a costly shortcut for short-term relief that will leave the country at a loss? That is today's conundrum. Here's a wrap on Newswatch tonight. On behalf of the whole team, thank you for watching. I'm Tess Jenga, and our sign language interpreter is Boniface Murithi. Have a good night and a blessed weekend.